Welcome to the Geek Homeworld. I am your host, Ed, aka Savage Tech Man. We talk sci-fi, TV, movies, superheroes, and all from a geek perspective. You can find us on Blogger, Google+, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We're everywhere. Join the Geek Homeworld. Hello, everyone. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this post-Oscars 2021, the 93rd Oscars from a crazy year of 2020 plus. And we're back with our post-show here, so welcome. Check us out on geekhomeworld.libsyn.com. That's our website. We're on Facebook, Geek Homeworld, on Twitter at Geek Homeworld, on Instagram. I think we're Geek Homeworld there too. We might as well be. I'm Ed, your host, Ed Ciucevich, and this is Scott Schreiber over there. Camera left, right. There you are.
Hey.
Welcome back. And we're both
thanks, sir.
Long days on our film productions we're working on separately, and we said we had to figure this out. We got to get this episode out and talk about the Oscars. So
yeah, might as well get in the recap. We spent so much time on a preview, we might as well have the book in here. So.
Right, and this one is going to be a lot more compact. It's going to be short and sweet, which for us means longer than usual. And so I'm gonna try to stay on target here, so as it were. So overall thoughts first, Scott. What did you think of
I thought that it was going pretty well for a while until the awkward ending, and we can we'll talk about that when we get into the categories and the winners there. But yeah, it was just a weird ending, and I just they kind of missed the boat. It's weird. They switched around. Let's talk about it now. When they switched around Best Picture, usually that is the final category. It's tradition.
That like threw me. I had to like rewind because we were both delay watching it. You were I was 30 minutes off, and you were probably 45-ish or so.
Yeah, skipping through commercials and stuff. Right. So yeah, it was strange for it to come first before actor and actress. And I was just like, why are they doing this? And I didn't figure it out until later on, but they ended up having egg on their face. It was an awkward ending because I think they wanted to have an ending where Chadwick Boseman won, Best Actor, and they had this great emotional moment, which it would have been fantastic.
Right.
But they put all their eggs in that basket, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins is halfway across the world in his bed asleep. So he's not even awake.
Probably, if I can do the math right, it was probably about 2 to 4 a.m. somewhere in the morning. Yeah. So,
No, he was in bed. He was not thinking he was going to win. So basically, they were like, Anthony Hopkins. And then they were like, and Joaquin's like, I guess I accept this on his behalf.
I really wanted to get an acceptance speech from Anthony Hopkins. I'm sure he's going to have probably something to say about it. But first off,
he gave a good.
Did he?
He gave a little blurb this morning. Yeah. And gave Boseman, gave Chadwick Boseman his due and said, I never thought I'd win this. And he paid respect to Boseman and was very classy, of course, about it. But and he deserved it. So I just thought that it was just really bold of the Academy to make that decision and that production decision to just change tradition entirely and move Best Picture, which always is last. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter what you want to happen last.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe they thought too that Viola Davis was going to win actress, and they would have these two historical moments back to back closing the show. And it just didn't happen, and they looked stupid for it. But I actually enjoyed the way it was set up. I like the intimate setting. It reminded you, like when you see pictures of the Oscars in in the 20s and 30s, it looked like that, a small room where it's just the nominees in a room and they're just handing out awards.
I think somebody actually talked about that. Somebody that their father or somebody had a relative had won before or something like that, or they were harking back to, what the Oscars were like.
Yeah.
I thought even though this was a very woke Oscars, it was a very, of the times, and I feel like I, I thought there would be more Hollywood, old Hollywood, and it started out, if you're looking at it racially, and you were like, oh, okay, that person did, oh, okay, that person, it looked like shows of old, but there was enough mixture, there was enough history made with the directing and best picture, which we'll talk about, and there was a lot more diversity, and yes, there's a long way to go, but there's been this bit of there's been a bit of I, I'll just call it a little bit of hate towards the fact that we have to make the Oscars as woke as possible and inclusive, and yes, I'm all about I can't say the word inclusivity. I think it's
Yeah, you did.
very good.
Bravo, you did it.
I'll never be able to say that again properly. But being inclusive, but it's all about, for me, it's all about the story. It's all about, I don't care who the actors are, as long as they serve the story and what
Yeah.
the story is. And just having inclusiveness just as like part of your plot. If that's not part of the plot supposed to be, then
Well, this year we saw a healthy mix
yeah.
of different cultures, not just racial cultures, but the deaf community with Sound of Metal, and then you see, and then you have films like Minari
Which I was
and the
really pulling
others.
for that,
Yeah, and then you have Judas, and yeah, so you have all these different,
fantastic.
like pulling from all different sides. So I thought they had a healthy mix, and they spread all the awards out pretty evenly. There wasn't a big winner last night. I
Yeah,
mean, Nomad.
once again, there was no dominant, there was no, Titanic, Lord of the Rings, or whatever,
Right. Like basically, here's the list of like the big winners. Like Nomadland had three. That's the most anybody had. And then there were six films that had two, and then I think four or five that had one. And that was, so it was just kind of like, here, let's give a few here, a few there, and which is nice. I
and,
think.
and, they weren't just participation trophies.
Well,
Uh,
no, I mean a lot of these were great. Were very deserving. Like we had them at the top of our list on a lot of them. So
yeah, you were at one
um,
point, you were 10 for 10. You reminded me via text.
well, yeah. I mean, you can't. Yeah, but I think I got to maybe the first 13 I had predicted right, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to be right anymore. I like seeing stuff that I didn't think was going to happen, and then stuff. Yeah, I missed a few down the stretch, which we'll talk about.
It's like
But I
when
think the big loser, if there was one, was Trial of Chicago 7. It had all those nominations and came away with nothing. I think it was the only one
when
that
we
has.
talked about that on the other episode, yeah, I even remarked
Yeah,
about the fact that we haven't really talked about it much, but that film just really didn't register comparatively. It was a good film, but compared to the
I
other
think
stuff that's out
it's.
there, I think
Yeah, I
it
mean, I think it's
lost.
one of those movies that's like in the top five for everything, but
Yeah,
it's not quite the number one. So it's a great film.
yeah.
It just didn't happen to take anything home. I mean, there's a lot of other movies that let's see, like Color Purple. There are a lot of other movies that were nominated for like 10 Oscars and didn't take home anything. So, and it happens.
I liked Regina King's entrance, even though it looked like she was
Yeah.
really out of breath and she almost tripped over her dress or something.
Yeah, it was definitely more filmic. You could tell like the one of the producers you said before we started filming, and
Yeah.
was Steven Soderbergh, and I don't know how much of a hand he had in like kind of the
There were
visual
like two or
style.
three possible directors, I think, or something
Yeah,
involved with it. So they were going for more like it
yeah,
felt like somebody said it online and said it felt like we were watching a film about the film industry, kind of. So it had a different feel than other
yeah.
Oscars. It didn't
But I
feel,
know
you know,
Soderbergh being a producer, like I know for a fact, like
is very
had a
helpful.
big he had a big hand in like bringing in the team, like from Contagion, his movie Contagion about the
Oh,
pathogen and
remember
that
the
stuff.
Contagions?
Like, yeah, he brought in his team from that to make sure the event was held safely and
Uh,
everybody, was didn't die from coming and getting some, slapping backs and
wow.
shaking hands.
Yeah, I mean,
But
they said, just like in the industry, once we start filming, the masks come off. But when we're done, like
yeah,
Regina,
the
she was like
cameras are
the
rolling.
big
Yeah.
mama. She's just telling you what to do. Mama tells you what to do, and you're like, okay, put your mask back on, and
Yes, so she had a great moment, and then
yeah,
the humanitarian award given to Tyler Perry. He had a great speech. That
which
was cool. That was a cool moment.
I called it. I called this last year. I said at some point Tyler Perry is going to surprise us, and he's going to win an Oscar. Of course, I thought it was he's going to turn dramatic. He's done with Medea, but what he did with Tyler Perry Studios and that story was, oh my gosh, pulls at your heartstrings, and he's become a great humanitarian. I mean, that's what he got. So he got an Oscar for that, and he may never get one for acting. We don't know, but he might get one for directing. You
I,
never know.
you never know. You never
But
know.
he was one of the leaders during the pandemic of getting people back to work safely, and he should be applauded for that. And I kind of think that Oscar was a nod to that, and to obviously helping out the community and all that he's done. I mean, in the state of Georgia, especially in the Atlanta area, he's done a lot in the film industry. So whether you like his films or not, and a lot of people like his films, um, and TV series and all that good stuff. But anyway, yeah, that was really good. Um, there was a lot, but I feel like we just need. Well, one thing, the ratings were the worst ever again.
Yeah, I saw that. So evidently, yeah, they were the worst ratings ever. 2 years ago, they were the worst ratings ever. So it kind of came. They came
Right.
back last year, but then I think there was maybe 20. I want to say the numbers were like 25, 26 million last year, and it was down to 9 million this year. Like nobody
We're,
really cared this year. Evidently, nobody saw the
I
movies
don't
during
know
the
if you
pandemic.
saw this, and but we're recording this. It's Monday, April 26th when we're recording this, and tonight on Jimmy Kimmel, he had a preview for his show across from the theater, and he's like outside, and he's like, "Yeah, they need to bring the hosting thing back." And was it me? It was like, and we talked about that. I think the Oscars need to bring a host back. Like if Regina
Yeah,
King was the
I
host, I would have been so
just
happy.
keep her out there the whole time. Yeah.
I would have loved it.
Um, yeah, I do like the pace. Like they were able to showcase all the nominees, which they never usually do. They were
Right.
every time you got a little bit of a blurb or a backstory to each person, which you never get that. So I kind of like that approach. Um,
There was a problem with the not showing the people really got upset best picture when they didn't show little snippets of the acting for it.
oh
Was it best
well,
picture? And I'm sorry, but seeing you got to see something, and I know it was, I guess, a creative
I
choice or a time choice, but
it's always a time choice. So I mean, and it just happens, and just go see the movies. Just
well,
everybody's got
somebody said that. Yeah,
to
they said that. Go
complain
see the
about
movie.
something. Why does everybody got to complain about
I know. Just be happy,
something?
and be happy that the Hollywood was able to. Hollywood is, when I say Hollywood, I mean the East Coast. I mean the state of Georgia too. Where a lot of films
Speaking
are made.
of which, like the
Yeah,
people were complaining about the in memoriam, and
yeah. I was gonna
a
say,
couple people being left off. The names I saw that were left off were TV actors, not film actors that were necessarily in the academy or were nominated or anything.
but
So
people that should be thankful that in through a pandemic, where a lot of productions were able to actually put out, films were actually made. TV was made, film was made during the pandemic, and that's incredible to that. We're still in it, but it's incredible. So I think we need to jump into, I think that's everything kind of preliminary that we talked about. We're kind of rushing through it just like the in memoriam at 1.5 speed.
Yeah, so like we
But,
might as well start off with the best, or the one that most people were
the
talking
most
about
shocking.
anyway. You know, it's Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor. Chadwick Boseman was really, everybody thought he was
It
going to
was a
win.
foregone conclusion.
IMDb has a poll up here basically of what people thought were going to win, and 47% thought Chadwick was going to win, and only 25 thought Hopkins was going to win. So I mean,
Right.
that's an upset. And, you know, even though we said that he could win on our preview, I don't think either one of us thought Hopkins would beat Boseman. We thought it was just going to be that great moment
I thought it
of
was going to be
Boseman.
another Heath Ledger moment,
Yeah.
But one of the great things, and I was going to mention this earlier, but one of the great things about some of the big categories are those upsets. Like when you watch the Grammys, and you're like, okay, definitely this person's going to win this year, or they get single of the year or record of the year, but they don't get album of the year or whatever, or producer of the year, or whatever, or something like that, and you get those in some of those big categories. That's where you get the upset. I
Well,
was
and it typically doesn't really happen at the Oscars. You
right.
kind of in these major categories, they kind of know what's going to happen. I mean, sometimes it happens with Best Picture here and there, but especially in the acting, it's
Right.
kind of like set in stone before you get there.
So yeah, I mean, I would have been happy with Chadwick winning, but honestly, I was pushing more for Riz Ahmed, personally myself, for Sound of Metal.
Yeah,
That would have been a shock, and I thought would have been
yeah,
well
but
deserved. I would have made a
yeah,
case for it.
absolutely, he's in my top three. But Hopkins was my number one of the year, so I'm glad he won. Boseman does have an Oscar nomination now, to add to his legacy. Just
Right.
because he didn't win doesn't mean he didn't give an amazing performance. And I mean, and his legacy will live on without a win. So, you
Yeah.
know, and I think that the right man won. I think the right performance won. Unfortunately, you didn't get the big emotional moment and the payoff at the end of the show like they wanted.
Right.
But
The way they structured it, it felt like it is meant for that, and then when it didn't happen, you're like, oh, okay.
yeah. But
And
in supporting actor, there was no surprise. It was Daniel Kaluuya all the way. And his speech was kind of like he kind of rambled on, didn't he? He just kind of went on. It wasn't
he
one of the
embarrassed his
better
mom.
moments.
That's another thing about his parents having sex. The look in her face, she's like, "What?"
She's like, yes, she was like, what did he say?
I think at that point he was just kind of. He's like,
he,
I'm up for tomorrow. He's like, I'm not coming to work till Tuesday.
yeah,
He's like,
he kind of lost, and he had been giving some great speeches, and I guess he just ran out of things to say.
but I mean, there was substance to his speech because he's like, we have a
Yes,
lot of work to do.
but then he just kind of went on and on.
Yeah, then he kind of does like I do and ramble, and
There you go. There you go.
but yeah, no surprise in the supporting actor, which I
No.
think that was one of the first awards they gave for the night, which was
Yeah, it
seemed like
usually
they kind of
is.
yeah.
Yeah, usually actually supporting actors typically the first. So I was surprised when they put original screenplay out there
Yeah.
first.
So then we go to actress in a leading role, and of course, a lot of people were on the train of Viola Davis, and it would have made history. But I think Frances McDormand winning made a little bit of history
Yeah,
because of she may have now more than Meryl Streep because she was a well, I don't want to spoil it. We already know what Best Picture is, but she shared in the that award. Did you know?
yeah. I don't know if she might have been a producer
She
on it
was a
that
producer. She
won.
brought Chloe Zhao. Is that correct? She brought her on the project. I read.
Okay, so if she was a producer, then yeah, she
So
probably
yeah,
won an Oscar for that. But as far as acting goes, it's three acting Oscars now for Frances McDormand. I
because
was definitely disappointed. I would
one in
rather have.
'96, and then
Yeah, she won for Fargo, and then
Fargo,
Three Billboards Outside
right,
Ebbing, Missouri, a few years ago.
2018, I think.
Yeah,
Something like
2018,
that.
19. So yeah, so she's got three now. I was kind of frustrated. I
I
just
know.
think that Carey Mulligan gave the best performance of the year, and why not give her first instead of Frances her third? But anyway,
And you talked
that was
about
kind of a surprise. I thought I thought if Carey Mulligan didn't win it, it would go to Viola or Andrew Day. So it was. I thought
Billy Hunt.
Francis was fourth in line, so there again was a surprise, which is I like seeing surprises. So even though I may not agree with it, it's it is what it is.
Yeah. Actress in a supporting role went to.
You want me? You make it.
You know me. I'm not bad with names. I'm sorry.
Yu Jun-yun for Minari. And it was a good moment. Like she kind of took a minute to find her bearings with her speech,
Oh, and she was grabbing on to Brad Pitt.
That was a good moment.
She was walking away with him. She's like, I'm taking him with me. And she's like, where were you? I'm so glad to meet you. I love her. She's so sweet. She's so
that was a great moment. And I mean, from what I've read, she's a legend in Korea. So just kind of a nice capper to her career, and she deserved it, as we said on the preview, that she gives humor to that movie, and that was Minati's one win. So it's nice that she was the representative of that. So no, that was a good moment. So good little speech once she kind of found her bearings. And
the next one was animated feature film. Oh, and by the way, we're just kind of doing this in our order, not the order that they were handed out in the ceremony, or even the order we did the last video on. So we just decided we grouped them for a certain way for who won, and it all makes sense.
Yeah.
But animated feature film, Soul, that was a lock. It would have been a shock if anything else won.
Yeah, pretty much. Very deserving. Like
yeah.
One of the better Disney films. So.
Yep. Then we go to original score, which was another win for Soul.
Which was Soul, so it won 2 on the night. And it's 2 animated and score, and that was John Baptiste.
He did a fantastic job, and
he probably gave the best speech because it was just it was just so well thought out and prepared. And I like it when people go up there and do that. They're not just listing names, just like, I'd like to thank Mary and Jimmy, and it's just like, that's boring. You can thank those people on the side, have a message, and that's what John Baptiste did. He came up there and gave a great little speech.
Even though one of my favorites, of course, was Harrison Ford, when he pulled out the paper and he was reading the terrible reviews of notes and it was for editing, which I'm sorry, that's what I'm skipping ahead, but it was for editing, and he talked about how important editing was. And it would probably do wonders in my case. But yeah, he was talking about Blade Runner 2049, and some of those were shot.
No, he was.
Excuse me.
He was talking about the
original.
Because there were there's definitely some different cuts of that film that exist out there. The director's cut is probably the preferred one to watch for me, but anyway, that's definitely a tangent. We could have a whole episode on Blade Runner one
day. Right. We have.
Well, at least on 2049.
Right.
So Soul got 2 animated and original score. It was John Baptiste, Trent Reznor, and Atticus Ross. Get another, 9 Inch Nails getting another Oscar. So. Pretty cool. And I liked how they gave John Baptiste the stage. They didn't say a word, and I think the main reason is because they'd already won.
Yeah.
But also John had more to say,
and he said it brilliantly. And I'm like,
Yeah. So from that, we also got a great, moment with Fight for You winning Best Song.
And you did see the pre, I'm going to call it pregame.
The pregame, where they played. That's where all the original songs were performed. They didn't do it through the broadcast.
So they had room to breathe in their own environment, kind of.
Yeah, so it opened up and gave more time during the show. But so I saw all 5 performances beforehand, and really Fight for You was the best song. I mean, it's a really great performance, so I'm glad it won. I would have liked to have seen Speak Now for One Night Miami also win, just so that film got an award.
Right.
But Fight for You, it was the best song. It deserved it. Her now has a Grammy and an Oscar. So who knows what the future holds for her.
Right.
So pretty cool. She's had a good couple of months here winning awards, much deserved. And that was from Judas and the Black Messiah. So that was 2 Oscars for Judas and the Black Messiah.
And that leads us to sound, one of my favorite categories. And had this movie not won for sound, I would have been upset. And
yeah, same here. I agree.
Sound of Metal won it, and its use of sound, or it's almost like a not use of sound. You're using sound, but it's in different ways, and
yeah, you're really the way that they did the film, like you really get inside of his head and you're experiencing what he's experiencing. So it's very
similar to maybe the cinematography of The Father, or it's kind of from Anthony Hopkins' character's perspective. I think maybe you can draw a little bit of a parallel between that, and how they approached it, very much. You
more so with the production design and the editing. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, Sound of Metal winning best sound. Film editing, which I talked about the Harrison Ford moment, which blended perfectly because Harrison Ford always looks like he's confused and he just doesn't know what's going on. And I think it's partially an act, and then he just gets serious, and that's where Sound of Metal picked up its second award, which I was excited for. And
so Sound of Metal, another one of those that won 2 awards. So sound and film editing. So.
And you see, The Father was in there for as one of the nominees for that. So number 10 on our list is cinematography, and this is one I feel like I kind of called. I kind of felt like if it was going to get an award, this is probably where it would get it. But Mank.
Yeah, so I agree. Like I think we touched on it where we said that the 2 contenders here were Nomadland and Mank. Right. Nomadland had won every single precursor, like even like the cinematographers, like, I can't remember what the name of that award is, but it's just cinematographers. I'm pretty sure Nomadland won that. It won, what else did it win? It won the Critics' Choice, won the BAFTA. It won every award leading up to this, but we said that the black and white cinematography, it could, with Mank, could sneak in here, and sure enough it did. So, and that was really the first surprise of the night, I think, where it's like, okay, there's kind of an upset, even though we semi called it, it's still an upset. Like I would think with the precursors all going to Nomadland, that would have gone there. But I like Mank getting this. I thought it was going to get production design, which I think it did, but we'll get there. But so it was good. It was good to see the love being spread all around, and Mank getting an award for its black and white cinematography, because the look and the sound and everything, it really felt like an old 30s, 40s film. So, well deserved.
Yeah, and it's really going over that, recreating that period of time. And more so, that I might be ahead of myself in saying this, but more so, I think, than Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, because that was literally just a couple of scenes, really.
Right. It was only a couple of sets. Then, might as well get into that. The next 2 categories, Ma Rainey won for costume design and makeup. And I think we both kind of felt like, I don't know if those deserved it. It was, because for what you just said, there wasn't a lot to it. It was just, a couple of scenes, one outfit for each person, and so that, it just didn't really feel like that was much deserved.
And I think we both felt like also, as we're talking about this, into production design with Mank winning, that felt right. That was another category where it felt like it should be Mank. It's Hollywood is going to always reward old Hollywood, It's
And
going to
they
reward
made it
itself.
again. They made it look like an old
Like
30s and 40s film.
exactly, you know, and I think, you know, Mank. I could have seen a world where Mank won cinematography, costume design, hair and makeup. Makeup and hairstyling and production design, and it got two of those: production design and what cinematography. But I could have seen it getting four. You know, I
Well, I
felt
think
like it might have.
you're
I
onto
might have.
something there. I feel like in an alternate universe, in a in a way, in another timeline,
Yeah,
it could have swept the Oscars. It's one of those that it is one of those types of films like that Hollywood loves to pat itself on the back and
right.
award movies about Hollywood. So it does seem like it could have been best picture, best director, best cinematographer, yeah,
Right.
everything. So, but it only got two, but it did get two for categories that it really deserved it in. So,
Yeah.
and speaking of which, visual effects, one that it really deserved it for,
Tenet.
Tenet. Yep.
Yep. If it got nothing else, which I think that was all it was nominated for, but
No, it was
glad it
up
got
for
visual
production
effects.
design too.
Was it production design? Yeah, it was. You're right.
Yeah, but I love seeing this win here. I mean, I said it before, even if it took me 3 viewings to understand it, I love the movie.
I'm
And I
not sure I
love
still understand it, but
so I know that was a great moment. And that was kind of a no-brainer too, looking at the other nominees. Mulan might
exactly.
have had a chance, but it was all Tenet all the way.
And that takes us to adapted screenplay and original screenplay, but first adapted screenplay. And the win there went along with Anthony Hopkins' win for The Father. So,
Yeah, the Father won adapted screenplay. That was what I had predicted, but I wasn't so entirely sure that Nomadland wouldn't sneak in there.
right.
But I loved seeing that win. It is an amazing script, so very cool win.
And that's where One Night in Miami was one of the nominees that I was kind of pulling for in that category.
That too, yeah. Same here. Yeah.
And that would have made me happy. I mean, I'm not displeased that The Father won, but it would have been nice if One Night in Miami got something and
Exactly.
more.
Yeah.
So original screenplay, we had.
So, yeah, this was my favorite moment of the night, and it would open the show.
With
it
this,
opened the show. It led the show off, and it was fantastic.
And I couldn't text you about it because I was like trying to be inconspicuous and not spoiler, not spoil anything for you. But
yeah,
I was like,
so
okay, the Oscars are turning off exactly the way you want them to.
Right. Basically, for me, it was fantastic to see Promising Young Woman, the best film of the year, win the first Oscar of the night for original screenplay. So I was thrilled to see that. And Emerald Fennell gave a great speech. I didn't realize she was Camilla Bowles in The Crown. That was crazy.
I had no idea. And I'm like, oh my God.
I had no idea either.
And did she say they did the film in 23 days or did I imagine that?
23 days. She was 7 months pregnant.
Amazing. That should be an Oscar unto itself.
Yeah. No, so that was cool. That was a great moment. I wasn't entirely sure that she was going to win that, but it was good to see. Obviously, I would have loved to see Promising Young Woman win everything it was nominated for, but it got this one, and this is the one it really deserved it for. Because no script.
Did it get Best Picture?
I know it's the
you
best
got best screenplay. He's the best script. It didn't transfer completely to the screen for everyone.
No, there are political reasons behind a lot of this. So
yeah,
I do like how they spread it out, but still, it's
I'm not against all of that, but it's for me, original screenplay. My favorite was Sound of Metal, which has been like one of my favorite films of last year. Like when I saw it, I think you probably discovered it a little bit after I did, but I'm like, you need to check this out. And I was like, I thought it was, I stumbled on it I think it was on Prime. Is it on Prime? Yeah, I think. And I said, oh, it's something about heavy metal or something. It's some headbanger thing or something. I don't know. And I was completely wrong. I didn't read the description. I just started watching and it was like, wow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's a drummer that's going deaf. And I'm like, wow. You know, that's like next level stuff to think about, you know. And I would have that was my personal favorite to win, and it went to Promising Young Woman. So you were happy.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
again, everybody gets a piece. So
Right. Everybody, you know, everybody gets their shot. Where to next? What was the
so documentary
documentary
feature?
feature?
It went to My Octopus Teacher. Hadn't seen it, don't know anything about it. It looked kind of cool. There's a lot of underwater photography and whatnot. So it's on Netflix if anybody wants to see it. And then international film, it's on Hulu if anybody wants to see it, is Another Round, which we figured this was going to win international film, considering it was up for Best Director for Thomas Vinterberg.
Right, we called that on the last episode.
Yeah, so yeah, I thought I liked seeing that win that, and you sent me a little text today that they're going to do an English version with DiCaprio, evidently. So
yeah, if it's to be believed, because you know Twitter never lies.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's rumor. So
yeah, the latest rumor.
Anyway, I would like that would be interesting to see an American version of that, not American. American. Let's Americanize it, please.
Americanize it. Oh,
no. Anyway, we don't need to do that necessarily.
It'll mean another round, completely different story.
Yeah, but that always kind of tends to happen with the international films. Is if one does really well, they're like, "Hey, let's make it into an English language and see if we can make money off of it."
And that was one of the best speeches.
It really was. I had no idea about his backstory. His daughter just died,
and she had read the script and loved it. And it was a person texting that, if I understood correctly, and I could be
wrong. That's what it sounded like.
Sounded like she died in a wreck and she was going to be in the film. So he's like, somehow I like to think that you magically pulled the strings that we won this award. And so, wow, you know, that took it to another level for me. And because I remember asking you, like, I haven't seen the film, but you said it was you'd seen it and it was pretty powerful. And I'm like, okay, Another Round, what's that about? And you're like, it's about drinking, but it's like, I'm like, oh, really? That's it? You know, but it's much deeper than that. And there was one tweet I saw when they was like, oh, what was wrong with help me out with this, Mads Mikkelsen? Is that
Mads Mikkelsen? Yes.
Yeah, they changed it, I think.
He played Hannibal on Hannibal. Y'all ever watch that?
Oh, that's true. That's true. And they're like, oh, he didn't get nominated for it, but then Leo's going to come along and get an Oscar for his English version.
Well, if that happens. You know, you got to remember too. There's only 5 spots for 5 people. He was definitely in the running. He does give an amazing performance in it. So
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That was a great and powerful speech from Thomas Vinterberg. He was up for Best Director, but he did not win Best Director. Best Director went to Future Eternals director Chloe Zhao for Nomadland.
Which rumor has it that Marvel is so excited for the finished product of Eternals for people to see it, that it's so next level, and they are so excited for Chloe Zhao. So now you can say Oscar winner for Best Picture, and
Best Director winner Chloe Zhao brings you.
And anybody works at Tyler Perry Studios can say Oscar winner Tyler Perry Studios. You know, it's like I would paste that up. I'd be pasting that up on the front door if it were me.
And I liked Chloe's speech. Like
it was a good one.
Like because problem with winning every award leading up to this is you run out of things to say, but she still gave a decent speech. And
you say the same things over and over again, and you have to thank the same people again, you know, and you're just like, okay, going through.
And was it me, or did she not look like? Remember the Native American lady that came out when Marlon Brando wouldn't accept his Oscar, and he had that woman. Did her outfit, Chloe Zhao's outfit, not kind of look like that? Especially with
that is not a road that I'm going to travel down with you.
She was wearing the pigtails. No, I'm not trying to. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be offensive. I just thought maybe it was a throwback.
And I don't know. She just. I don't know a lot about her, but but she just seems like she very genuine, and she seems like an infectious kind of person, like, like someone you'd really like to know. She's someone like maybe a little different, but like Olivia Colman is for me. I mean, Olivia Colman, I feel like I could hang out with her and have the best time of my life. I think, like, she's just like the life of the party. And I'm not saying Chloe is or isn't, but I feel like she's just a very down to earth, very, very intelligent, and just, she's got a good energy about her. I don't know how to describe it, but
talk about life of the party. I think Frances McDormand is sometimes, because during the best picture, we'll go ahead and reveal best picture here. It was right. Nomadland, like we thought.
Right, and we even said on the previous episode that what happened, you're the best director, but you didn't get best picture. And maybe this year it'll happen, and we thought it would, and it actually did.
It lined up, and but it was this gave us kind of our first, I felt it was kind of an awkward moment, and then it led into more awkwardness. But like, because here we had best picture being put ahead of best actress and best actor. And then,
in the order of the show, and it threw me, and I was like rewinding, and I was like, okay, wait a minute, because I know I fast forward. Did I already jump like 2 categories?
Right. And so during this speech, McDormand comes out, and she actually gets up there and says what she wants to say, and gets it out of her, and she gives out the wolf, like she howls like the wolf.
Do you know why that was?
Like they do in the film.
Do you know why that was?
What
why she did the howling wolf thing there?
Go ahead if you want to talk.
The sound mixer on Nomadland passed away.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
And his name, I think, was like Wolf or something like that. And I don't, but I read that online. I did not know that when she did the wolf cry like last night, and I looked it up, or it came across one of my feeds. And so now I feel kind of like, okay, that was pretty damn cool, when I thought that was just her being, crazy or something. But it was a nice shout out.
It's both.
Quite literally.
Her being crazy and paying homage. That's cool to know that. Like, but it definitely felt out of place.
He was a young guy and passed away, and I'm not sure what.
Especially when they went from Best Picture to Best Actress, and she ended up winning. Because she basically had already gotten out what she wanted to say. Right. And so by them putting that out of order, they kind of stole that moment too, because she got up there and gave basically the shortest, worst speech of the night. It was just like, appreciate doing the work. Thank you. Have a good night.
My arrow.
She had already
I'm an arrow and I shoot straight.
She already had said what she wanted to say.
Yeah.
What she was up there for Best Picture. So had they not shuffled the awards around, they would have had a better moment for her speech. Right. They probably would have had, it wouldn't have been as awkward, obviously, for Best Actor, and you still would have ended on Best Picture and had a good ending. They totally screwed up that ending. It just threw everything off.
It just, like, we were texting each other, but I was ahead of you, so I couldn't really text you about it. I was like, there's surprises coming up ahead. Good surprises, and I'm not sure what happened. So
but a surprise. Yeah, but a surprise for you might not be a surprise for me either.
True. I think you had a better track record than I did by far on this for your predictions. I mean, you were what, 13? You said at one point.
Yeah, but then I feel like I probably ended up missing at least 5 because. My gut was Chadwick Boseman was going to win. I thought that I ended up picking Viola Davis. I thought they were going to go with Viola Davis. So,
I thought it was going that way too.
I think I had cinematography going to Nomadland. So there were a few I missed. So.
I kind of felt like, okay, we've had our Frances McDormand moment. I didn't think she'd be back, for this, but I don't know. It struck a chord, with enough Academy of voters that's how all this came out to be. So last thoughts on the 93rd Oscars. Oh, next year.
Yes, let's end on that.
February 22nd, 2022, according to @Oscars Online, that started following me on Twitter, by the way. Thank you for that. If you're watching this or listening. They announced today that February 22nd, 2022 will be the 94th Oscars. So that tells me
Yeah.
We're going back to our calendar year. Yay.
Yes, which technically it'll be a shorter calendar year for this Oscars because it'll be March 1st to December 31st.
Right.
But one year is going to have to suffer that 2 month, shortness anyway. So might as well be this first one. Just get it back on record, back on
Because
track.
by the time we get to 2023, we'll be rocking and rolling, or 2022. That's next year. I'm already jumping ahead. Yeah. By the time
so we've got 10 months of films. We'll see what theaters. What they had a great promo last night about bringing. The theaters are back open and let's all get back out, and like with the montage of all the great films. They said that
during their award acceptance, and get out there, and and Chloe was in the background. Yeah, it was like, get out to the theaters. And
yeah, so I mean, they had a great montage of all the great films we should expect to see in the theater this coming year. And I will also say I thought it was really cool they put that montage together of the new museum, the Academy Museum for Motion Pictures, which is going to be obviously in California, and it'll be hard for some of us to ever go. It's one of those things that I may never see, like I may never see, Disneyland or something, But,
really?
I don't know. I may go out there one day, but I thought that was cool. That it's strange that there's never been essentially a museum for movies.
I kind of just assumed there was, like, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland,
right.
And so
So now we have a Mecca. We have a place to go and see stuff like that. It's not just, I've been in the Smithsonian and seen that, that display, but this looks like on a grander scale. That building was incredible. A lot of the four of the music performances were actually performed on top of that building. So
I know this is unrelated, but it's kind of related. Last time we went to, this was pre-pandemic, but we went to Disney World in Florida, and they replaced the movie thing you used to drive through, and it would take you through the old movies and all that, and you'd see the Wizard of Oz and all that, and it's been replaced with something I don't remember. I don't know why that popped in my head, but
that's too bad, because I remember that it was like the Grauman's Chinese Theater,
right,
and yeah,
and like,
oh well.
Anyway, so that was the Oscars. It was on ABC, and I enjoyed it. It's weird. I don't think we'll ever go back to the old days of how the Oscars were. I think they've kind of changed, but I think we'll go back eventually. I hope back to a host, but I don't know, like the what felt intentional was the segment where we ended up getting Glenn Close dancing to the butt, which was unexpected.
I'm sorry, I can't believe we did not talk about that. So that's what we end on. We won't talk about it in length. We will just say, if you missed it, go online and find Glenn Close doing the butt.
Oh, sexy.
It is classic. It makes me wonder if that was staged at all. If it was not,
I think it was staged because she knew those facts too well.
Exactly. Now that's what I'm saying.
And I think it was meant to be a viral moment. It needed it because that segment was not working. That segment was the worst part of the show. It was the awkwardest part that got bleeped because of whatever was said.
Andra Day decided she was going to cuss, and then Kaluuya decided he was going to cuss.
And I'm like, oh Lord. And then Glenn Close, I think
Glenn Close cuss too.
Yeah, she's like, what the, so I don't know. It all ends well. So what's a little awards show without a little bit of controversy? So
a little bit of the butt.
And this is the end. So
the butt of this podcast.
Thank y'all for listening. We had a great response to the preview or our special nominations episode, so go back and check it out. There's chapters in there so you can skip ahead to all the categories. You can compare that video to this one.
See how wrong we are.
See how wrong we are. See how wrong I was. See how right Scott was. And I don't know. So anyway, thank you, Scott, for coming back on. And we got to get to bed and get to work. It's back on set before you know it. So anyway, go to the movies, enjoy getting out into theaters, get your shots, get all of them, get everyone you can. And let's
right.
get back. So I'm
getting round 2 on Friday.
Yay. I'm past my 2 weeks, past my second Pfizer. So I'm completely fully vaccinated, as they say. And I'm thankful I'm still going to wear my mask going out and, and do what I'm supposed to do. But, I encourage people to do that. So do that. And I got to say goodbye. I don't know how it ends. It's like the Oscars, just oddly just comes to an end.
Just get Joaquin to say, I guess I'll accept.
I don't know what an actor's supposed to do. I'm like, what? That's where it really went off the rails. And I'm like, okay, it's Joaquin. I'll give him a pass.
The end.
The end. Goodbye. Oh, I got to play the outro.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Geek Homeworld with your host, Savage Tech Man. You can find us on Libsyn, Google+, follow and interact with us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, listen to us on iTunes and leave a review, subscribe to us on YouTube, read our thoughts on Blogger. See you again on the Geek Homeworld.